Let me go to Sreeram Chaulia and get a sense of, while obviously, yes, on immigration, a democratic administration might be slightly more reasonable and more accommodative of India's concerns and interests. On China, I think it'll be a continuation of this sort of hardening of stance, because I don't think China is giving much elbow room, whether it's to a Republican administration or whether it is to a Democrat one. I'm curious about, some of the sore points that could possibly come back into the relationship, which Trump didn't seem particularly concerned about, whether it is Kashmir or Article 370, human rights and so on and so forth, CAA and all of that other stuff. Do you think a Democrat administration, given the shift towards the progressive side of that party, would you think that a Democrat administration could raise some of those questions, which certainly is not kosher for India, certainly is not kosher for our government, and thereby the relationship might see a few thorns, even though the overall direction is the same?
Zaka, yes, a few thorns is the most I can worry about, because Biden is also a pragmatist. I mean, he is not really an ideological leftist. I mean, the way he has been portrayed by Trump as a kind of a, bandwagon of socialism and, extreme left ideology, I don't think so. He's mostly a centrist. So, and Biden, I think, also has a sense of appreciation for allies and partners, much more than Trump was. So, in that sense, I think we will, negotiate. He will negotiate with India more generously overall on trade, on immigration, and most importantly, building a coalition to counter China. So the human rights lecturing and rhetoric, well, Bazaka, even democratic presidents in the US in the past have coddled a lot of dictators. It's not like they use this democracy and human rights thing like a strategic stick against adversaries who are, opposing US interests. They don't apply it to countries like Saudi Arabia ever. Exactly. Democratic presidents have not lectured Saudi Arabia on human rights much. Absolutely. Obama tried a little bit. Even Israel, which was, taking very harsh settlement policies, they didn't. And around the world, they have allies who cannot be called paragons of virtue when it comes to democracy or human rights.
All right.
So I don't think, we should belabor the point. I think we should be pragmatic. If Biden wins, then there should be points of convergence. And I've pointed out some recently in one of my opinion articles in the Economic Times. I think we need to be looking at shoring up the coalition building and the multilateral policies and the instincts of Biden, and harnessing it if he wins. If Trump wins, well, the good work is going on and it's going to continue.
Yeah,
if
it'll be a continuation.
I don't think we should be alarmed or worrying too much,
okay,
but rather just planning for it and being smart and lowering expectations, but being smart in our diplomacy.
Not be worse or any more worse in terms of the strategic cooperation with India, particularly when it comes to the China question, because like we've been saying in this chat, no US president can be seen as being too soft or conciliatory towards China. That's how the nature of the relationship is shaped over the last 6 months, particularly after the pandemic.
Yeah, Zaka, structurally speaking, the US is kind of in relative decline, and China is catching up so fast in terms of influence, military, technology, economy, all the spheres. So there is going to be, a very, very fierce competition. It's just about, which areas Biden, if he wins, he is going to pick vis-a-vis Trump, and what strategy and what tactics he will adopt. But the basic point is more conflict and less cooperation between US and China is guaranteed. And there, of course, that means that greater cooperation between India and the US is also guaranteed. The only issue, Zaka, which we'll have to watch is, Biden has to fix the economy. Biden has to overcome the pandemic. Biden has a huge backlog of domestic issues in healthcare. He wants to bring back, support the Obama plans and expand coverage. So, and given the decline of the US economy lately, the slump, I don't think they can commit a lot of resources and bring back the America of the yesteryear, the liberal internationalist America that was like a colossus and was shaping the outcomes in every region. Sure. So I think from Indian point of view, my view is we have to have a little lesser expectations from the US, and we cannot imagine that this is the same America as the America when Biden was vice president. In the last 4 years, especially, the power gap has narrowed. So they have a really a compulsion to fight back against
All right.
China, but at the same time, they have to attend to domestic issues, and therefore, it's not going to be, I think, a transformative presidency if Biden comes in.
Okay.
It's going to be more transitional, and we have to
Okay,
wait and see
more
what happens in
transitional
4 years
and
from now.
not transformative. We'll see how that plays out. And it is still a big if that there will be a Biden presidency or a Democratic presidency. We will know, hopefully, in the early hours of tomorrow morning, or at least by late morning, we should have a definitive picture. I want to thank Saket Mishra, Sreeram Chaulia, Professor Hassan, and Prabhu Dayal for joining us with this India question.